So we can see we've only got the system's tar file downloaded. It disconnected a couple times and reconnected. But it looks like it's picked it up and completed it. And we should see systems.tar.gz here, which we do. So hopefully it's a good download. Let's go ahead back to the Word document. And the next thing we want to do is unzip that file. So we're in the proper subdirectory, PiDP11. We've downloaded it. Let's see if we can get it to extract it here. We can see right now it pulled out RT11. It's working on RSX11 M+. I don't know how big these images are. I mean, it was 129 megabytes compressed. The activity light on the Pi is solid green. There's RTS7, there's DOS11, Unix 5, BSD211. You can see here it's extracting disk images. I'm assuming that's an RK drive disk image, most likely. Various bits and pieces. It's got a text file here for lunar.txt, which is something I'm really looking forward to playing with. It's one of my incentives to get this thing going. It should be fun while this is unzipping. And about 1979, as a very young guy, I ended up as a contractor to the U.S. Air Force from a third-party company doing maintenance on various computers. A lot of that maintenance was cleaning tape drive heads, that kind of stuff, replacing filters, running diagnostics. And there was pretty sure it was a PDP1170 with a vector graphics scope, and we used to run Lunar Lander on it and play, a version of Lunar Lander that was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to be able to get that running here and be able to play that again, so that'll be in a future video. This is still decompressing here. I don't remember how long this took previously. Again, I'm assuming it assembled a good zip file here. The activity LED is just solid green, so I'm going to continue to assume it's doing something. Yeah, I just moved ahead to sys3. So it's decompressing those. So while this is decompressing here in the background, I want to talk a little bit about VNC. We can enable the VNC virtual desktop on the Raspberry Pi, and by enabling that virtual desktop, we can run the VNC client on our Windows machine and connect to the Pi on its desktop. So we're in the full graphics environment, and I'm hoping to tackle that next in here as well. I've already downloaded the Vnc Viewer and installed it on my machine. We'll walk through the command line steps here to enable VNC on the Pi, and then after it's restarted we should be able to get a Vnc Viewer connection. You can see it's moved through Unix 7, through sys5. It's now on Unix 6. There's a large number of OSs here, and it's done, so that's really nice. So we now should have various operating systems on the machine, and we see a whole suite here of everything we just unloaded. Blinky, I believe, is the default. I'll call it OS that gets loaded. Blinky is an application that will blink the LEDs on the front panel of the PDP11 front panel. We'll be assembling. We'll look at that in the future. We've got a number of operating systems here, which is really sweet. So let's go back to, actually I want this website, and we're going to go ahead and do a sudo raspig config. And that should get us this interface, and I believe, let me look back at the website. We want interfacing options. That would make sense. I'm just using the cursor keys on the keyboard. Interfacing options. We want to enable VNC. Would you like VNC server to be enabled? It's now enabled. VNC server is enabled. Oh, there's some nice little things here. Again, in the GUI, you can get to the same thing. I'm just wondering if it shows whether it's enabled or not. It doesn't really show the current state. We'll back out here. We'll finish. I don't know if VNC got started in that install or not, but we'll give it a shot. So this is the Windows Vnc Viewer interface. I've already defined a connection to get to the machine in the previous install, but let's see if we can actually connect. Yep. Its identity's changed in the last time we connected because it's a new OS build. Continue. And there it is. So let's go ahead and go through the setup. So hopefully this is fully on screen. Move it down here. So we're running the Vnc Viewer software on my Windows PC. This is connected to the VNC server on the Raspberry Pi, and it wants us to configure the desktop. So I'm United States, American English. I am Los Angeles for time zone. Should be able to pick those defaults. It should set this up. I am not going to change the password. Screen does not show a black border around the edges. When I was doing this directly on HDMI monitor, it did, so I enabled this, but I don't need that for now. It's already configured for a Wi-Fi network, but we'll see what it finds here. There's my Wi-Fi network. So we've really moved off kind of course here for getting simh loaded. But these are all pieces you'll probably want to do on your Raspberry Pi install yourself if you've never set one up. We'll let this keep cranking here. We can actually go back to the shell session we've got. And I'm trying to remember now how to connect to the simulator console. I'm going to have to look at the Word doc. I don't remember how to do that offhand. Here it is. We want to run this to grab the simh console. Must not be running, or I'm in the wrong place. Nope. May have to restart the machine. You can always start the GUI using StartX. You can enable auto logon, etc. Of course, we didn't do the we did do the reboot here, so I'm not sure if it's running or not. When this all gets configured, we'll restart it and see if the simulator is running. System's up to date. Let's go ahead and restart it. This will break the connection here, along with saying unexpected close connection because we restarted the Pi. Give it a second here to come back. There it is. We're back in, and there we are. Okay, so earlier I had exited the simh emulator, I think is why it wasn't connected, but we're now in the simh. Emulator is running. It's running that idle LED program. We could then on the, this is all documented, set the sense register switches on the front panel and boot one of these OSs. But since we don't have the front panel built yet, don't even have it delivered yet, we really can't do that. We should be able to get back into, we're back on the desktop that I've reconnected. So at this point we've got the Pi running. Things are looking pretty good here. There's the PDP shell. I should be able to do PDP shell. Did I use the wrong? There it is. I just grabbed that shell session in the VNC emulator from here. So it detected that it got disconnected and grabbed someplace else, which is why we're back in the Raspberry Pi command line. So that's pretty sweet. Let's see, move on and see if we can make anything else happen here. So we've really got this built and ready to go. Putting different operating systems, you'll have to read through all this via the sense switches. The operating systems that are available. There's a way to actually start an OS without the front panel. I've just got to find it here. We've looked at all this, setting up the Pi. You've seen all this. I've just got to find the section on how to do that because I do not remember. Installing your own software. Quick tour through the OS. Lots of stuff to play with here. Even without the front panel, it's just kind of walking through various operating systems and how to get a taste for them. As I recall, what I'm looking for was very close to the end of the document. Terminals, how to control terminals, multiple serial ports, CRT emulator that I'll play with, additional OSs you can install. Hopefully I can find what I'm looking for. I'm pretty sure it was in here. Maybe not. Let's see if there's a... Trying out the front panel, booting different operating systems. Wonder where I found that. Quick tour of the operating systems. Well, I'll stop recording here for a minute and see if I can find those instructions, and we'll actually get one of the OSs started up here and have a very quick play with it. Okay, I found the section here on basically getting an operating system up and running without the front panel attached. So we can do a Control E and then simh. That gets us back to pauses the emulator essentially. So we can do a Control E. The emulation, it's running, but we're back in control of it. I think we can do a directory here. Maybe not. I'm guessing at commands. And they show us doing like a CD and RD11. So let's try that. See, does PWD work here? System's idled. That's... I must not have copied that. Let's see if we can get into the RT11 folder. Working directory. We're in the RT11, and I think at this point we just do we run the boot any file. So do, this is a simh command, boot.ini, and that is waking up the operating system. So the operating system is up and running. We are in RT11. Not sure what this little window is for. I haven't used RT11 in decades. There's a bunch of files on the disk. There is a C compiler. Wow, this brings back memories, but man, it's been a long time. I believe I can wildcard. Not that I can necessarily, oh, backspace isn't mapped correctly. No. Basic VO when it didn't like something. Okay, we got back out. There was it trapped something. Wow, it's been a long time. Anyhow, we're in one of the operating systems. I'm not sure how to shut down. Nope. How to shut down RT11, I just really don't remember. I see start basic. It's G basic. No, it doesn't like something. Did I crash it? Stop, expired, continue. Doesn't like something I did. I don't know if it's completely down or not. All in with these old operating systems is they do really need to be started correctly. Okay, we're back. G basic startup. It's been way too long. Now, there's just something not right here. No surprise. Anyhow, I think we've got everything pretty much in place to be able to get our front panel built when it's delivered. Get this Raspberry Pi installed in it. And see where we end up. And I've got a whole bunch of reading to do around simh and operating systems. If I learn anything, interesting before we start the kit build, I'll probably shoot another video. So anyhow, hopefully this was helpful, somewhat entertaining. I didn't drone on too long. And we'll talk soon.